And of course, welcome to another Aloha Pools and Spas Deep Dive podcast. I'm your host, John Watts, along with Brad Cook, and today we have
Larry Frye,
the construction manager at Aloha. Been here since '92.
Was it 92?
Yeah.
I was going to ask that. Yeah.
1992. I was on the radio back
I think
then.
we moved in this building in '94 or '93.
93.
Yeah.
Labor Day weekend of 93. Yeah. We all got together and bum rushed it.
Yeah, I remember.
It was, yeah.
So I've been at Aloha as long as they've been in this building.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or even before. No, you were at Detroit.
Classic
store.
Marble building
where
for a year or season.
Right.
But I bounced back between the old Waffle House.
Yeah.
Dennis had like a little folding table.
Yeah.
And that was what you saw when you walked in the door.
Yeah,
And
right.
that was with Chris Norman. And we was just building above grounds everywhere.
And who was the guy? Stacy
Harold.
Stacy Harrell.
Yeah.
All right. And so that goes back to 92.
That would have been 93.
Oh, really?
I thought it was me and Todd Hampton that actually helped move, and that would have been 94.
Maybe. But
I know who I was working with, what year it was.
and what did Dennis say to you and Stacy one day?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it was 7 o'clock in the morning, and we showed up ready to go out and build an above ground pool, and he said, "Above ground boys, y'all want a beer?"
Yeah.
So he had a 5-gallon bucket with ice and beer.
I don't think he was drinking that time of the day, but
I mean, he was getting them ready.
I remember that.
Breakfast beer.
Well, back then, though, you had to have, if you were going to get beer, you couldn't just get beer anytime, anywhere. And so you kind of had to be prepared. Yeah, I remember going out of town, and maybe say we were going up in Kentucky where they didn't sell beer. So we would buy beer, like,
On the way?
I hate to say that. But we'd buy beer and put it in the cooler for that night.
Yeah.
Because, you get up there in West Kentucky, there's nothing.
No man's land, yeah.
No beer. You got to have beer for the horses, right?
Right.
Yeah. So 1992, you came along. So I asked you yesterday before we did this, I was saying, hey, we want to do this, to think of some memory and about all your time here. And some odd things that happened, or pool projects that you're real proud of, or just thinking of different things that people might find interesting. So, and you said, well, there's one thing, the glaring that stood out. So
the most glaring memory I have is during my above ground days. So it had to be in the 90s probably. And your dad was, the king of the pool king, and your dad, and so, but he was leveling pads for me.
Right.
And I'd get my pool kit to the job while he was digging, and then I had some guys helping me that would be kind of pre-assembly and stuff, and I would get the dump truck. We had an old orange farm-looking dump truck, and it had like 6 inches of play in the steering wheel going down the road. And I would go get my sand myself because I was paying for my materials. And so when he got through leveling the pad for me, I was going to back the dump truck into the pool pad and dump the sand.
All right.
And so when I got ready to pull back out of there, it wouldn't go. And so your dad was master mechanic and jack of all trades. And so he's going to go underneath the truck and see what's going on. And he told me to sit in the truck and when listen and follow his instructions. So your dad is laying under the truck.
Right. Oh, God.
Up to I can only see him from the legs down. And he tells me, okay, try to crank it up. And so I guess I had left it in reverse before I turned it off and had my foot on the clutch or something. And so when I started to turn the key, it started rolling, and your dad was rolling underneath that dump truck. And I hit the clutch real quick and stopped, and I looked down, and he wasn't moving. He was just, and I was thinking, I killed Brad's dad, Yeah, he was fine. He was.
Right.
I hit and everything worked out fine. But yeah,
I never heard that story.
Yeah.
I don't remember it anyway.
Yeah, probably never really wanted to tell you about it.
That same dump truck. You remember when we did that pool at Fulton in the United Methodist Church?
Yeah.
All right, and I don't know if this gets cut or not. You remember Dennis
taking a leak? Yeah.
I got to tell that story.
I don't care.
Dennis had relieved himself number one style in front of the truck, and And Larry was walking around and everything, and he saw that what appeared to be
Dennis said, "I think this truck is leaking."
Oh, did he?
He set me up. Yeah.
Oh.
He wasn't like I just blindly went over there and did that.
So I wasn't in on it. So I just thought that you had looked, and maybe he had said that, and then he went over there. You went over there, and he did like that,
and stuck it to my nose.
Oh,
right.
Yeah, because I was going to see if it was antifreeze or it was Dennis's.
I know you remember R.C. Wilkerson.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So R.C. Wilkerson was from Savannah, Tennessee, is what he called it, and he was just an old hillbilly that could dig the absolute crap out of a pool, right? So he would get up on Highway 22 out of Savannah and come up here, and I mean, he'd meet us on jobs at 7:00 in the morning or whatever. Anyway, he was a fun guy, and I didn't know until after he died that I loved him. You know what I mean?
Right.
When after he's gone, I didn't know. You know, it's this dude that works for you, but I like the crap.
It's
out
like
of
a
him,
camaraderie between all of us.
yeah, but one thing that was so funny, he'd bring his boys to help him dig the pool, and one day he had there was a wasp flying around all over there, and Ronnie was down in the hole. I remember Ronnie, but I don't remember the other boys' names.
The young boy. Yeah, he brought his kid with him. So
His grandson,
yeah.
Grant. There's the other one, I don't remember his name right this moment, but there's a wasp flying around everywhere, and RC is up there digging, and Ronnie was down there swatting all over the place, and the horse, he went away. Was a wasp or horsefly one? I don't remember, and it flew on off. It was way gone by then, and RC had said, "He's down there on you." And RC, I mean, Ronnie was waving his hat. He was aggravating his own son. And he and I had a huge laugh over that. And I don't know. He was just fun.
And Grant stepped on the hornet's nest one day.
Oh, yeah.
He was just there playing around in the yard because he was too young to work and stepped on a hornet's nest.
Oh, man. Yeah.
While RC was digging. So that reminded me of that story.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Robert Brassfield showed up on a job, and he was a cutesy little boy with the
right.
And RC thought he was a girl and was calling him Hun.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of RC memories.
Oh, yeah. He's a good dude, man. I'll tell you what, and I don't know we could probably make a whole podcast about RC himself, but you remember Moon Bay Harbor Resort up in Eddyville or Catawba
Yes.
or whatever like that? You remember it being on the side of the hill? Mm-hmm. Were you there when he dug that pool?
Bobby dug that. Oh, there's two pools there. There's two pools. I wasn't involved with the first
Jim
one.
DeVillez was his name. Jim DeVillez was his name.
No.
He could talk just about like you, but he wasn't a radio guy, right? But anyway, it was off the side of a hill, and it was. I don't speak angles, but if I did speak angles, it was like a 45-degree angle, and we had to do a daylight line, right? And I don't remember where the filter system. It wasn't for the filter system, but he put his bucket down the hill on a backhoe, and I consider myself pretty decent with an excavator and a bobcat. And the backhoe, I know one lever alone.
Yeah.
Oh my God! But so he puts his bucket down, he starts digging, and when he needs to go downhill, he would hold his back bucket in an inch and lift his front bucket up an inch his way down the hill. And he took that thing, he daylighted that ditch, 45-degree angle down a hill, and I mean, it was the most scary. Is the scariest thing I ever saw.
Backhoes are awkward,
and they're up and they're tall and they're top heavy, and he's down that hill a little bit at a time. He would dig his ditch, and then when he couldn't dig anymore, then he would hold it with his back bucket, lift his front bucket,
slide,
ease it down, and stick it down in the ground again. Yeah, it's freaking amazing. Yeah,
RC.
Oh yeah. I mean, he was probably 70. I was going to say he's probably 60 years old at the time, which is about where
we are now.
He seemed old, No, he's probably 65, 70 years old at the time. But yeah, so you've seen a lot in these days, in these years doing this. What is there any jobs that stand out? It's like,
people ask me all the time, John Worrell will call me from the service department needing help, like trying to figure out some details about a pool that maybe they have to go and do some service on. And he'll say, do you remember? I'm like, no, I don't at all. It's just too many. I built so many pools, I just can't. It's hard to remember individual ones. But I'd say the ones that turn out to be the best and the most proud of are the ones that we go in there and then there's a issue we have to overcome. And then we have to end up doing it kind of custom, and it makes it special. And I'd say one of my favorites is the one over in, it's in Jonesboro in the subdivision where the gunite went around it was like an L shaped, and then it was some elevation issues, and so we raised the wall on the deep end, and then and the pool deck actually stair stepped up around. And that back
I'm
down.
trying to remember that. Was that
and it had the weeping wall.
Yes, I do remember that.
And that one turned out to be one of my favorite looking
See
pools.
if we got some pictures for this.
It's definitely in the brochures.
Yeah. And I don't know that it's in the brochure, but yeah, we definitely need to figure that out. Maybe me and you and Dustin.
It's in
can start
Sage Meadows.
I bet Dustin can.
Dustin Jr. sold that pool.
Yeah, I bet he can come up with that. Yeah,
I know. I've got it saved on my phone. I've got pictures. If y'all need a picture.
He will definitely
send them to me, and I'll show all the viewers at home.
It's totally custom, and there's no other pool that I don't think that could be exactly like that one anywhere on the planet because of the things we had to do to make it all work in this particular yard, and it made it original and custom, and it turned out amazing, and
nice.
It's one of my favorites.
You remember Riley? This was a long time ago. Riley something or another. He had it was a new subdivision at the time in Paducah, and he wanted this. When you said weeping wall, that made me think of this wall that is kind of separate from the pool, but it was just like a wall that it trickled down into its own little pool. It was one of those Frank Lloyd Wright homes.
It must have been Frankie days.
Yeah, it definitely was. Yeah, that one stood out.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah.
The Todd Farron.
Yeah, Todd Farron was a cool pool. He's a photographer in Paducah, and he would create all of these like really cool little scenes. And he had a lot of people coming from like from Miami, and and did a lot of swimsuit photos. And so it was probably the first tanning shelf we ever put in a pool. It was like a tanning shelf when they weren't even cool.
Right.
Todd was well traveled. And actually, we brought in some people from Arizona to help us do our first manufactured rock type of pool.
Right.
I don't know if I could get Todd to send me some pictures of that old pool. I know I don't have pictures of it, but it was pretty cool. His whole scene was pretty cool because it was. I don't know if we did fog on that pool or not. We dabbled in that a little bit, but we tricked that one up. A whole lot. For
the times that we did it, it was tricked up.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And, kind of a grotto type, grotto type waterfall, little low scale Hugh Hefner type look,
Right.
That one stands out. But I'd actually forgot about it though until you brought that up. And then you remember when we did that pool in Huntington and Dennis, we were shooting gunite, and it had two automatic covers. It's like for a doctor or something. It was an L-shaped pool, so there's an automatic cover going across the shallow end and one coming down the deep end. What I remember about it is we were pumping our own concrete, and we were dragging the concrete hoses around, and it was my first encounter with working with some Hispanic guys that was a part of the Cruz Mahano, as Uncle Frank used to call him.
Mandahano?
Yeah. That from that bunch. And I remember this one guy was real stout, and I was trying to help him drag the concrete hose, and he was dragging the hose and me along. I couldn't keep up with him. I couldn't keep up with him. Well, that was some hard times. some hard work.
The Wendell Hoskins pool, I think, is pretty special, but it sucked work. It was difficult because of.
He was in some like some of the gumboest gumbo that ever gumboed.
He had bad ground conditions, and he wanted a huge pool.
The ground let's see, and tell me if I'm wrong about this, but people out there in that area have to keep their house wet around their yard, or it dries, and then the gumbo expands. Am I saying that right?
It like holds the water, doesn't go into the ground. It like holds it.
Yeah,
yeah.
And
it's like a bowl. It's either holds it or it cracks if it's dry.
So we overdug the pool, and it's good for rice because it holds water really well. I guess that's one.
That's
reason
probably why they grow rice all around there.
Good for rice. Well, you couldn't do it over in Kennett because water would
Sand
just go straight
take
in the
the
ground.
water.
But so we overdug this pool at least 2 feet deeper than it needed to be, and then 2 feet wider than it needed to be. And he got it all framed up like we were building a house, right? And then it was like 30.
One of
by
the biggest
60,
foreman jobs I can remember ever doing. Yeah.
all travertine, and we did deck drain in it. And I made sure that you couldn't see the deck drain, so we put the deck drain underneath the deck, and then created a system out of travertine where water could run around it. And I mean, it was no expense spared on
Floated the travertine over the deck drain.
Yeah.
Let it bleed in there.
Yeah.
I remember that.
It was super nice. Super nice. And then we did that, back to that one up in Fulton. There was an indoor aquatic center for the First United Methodist Church. And in the state of Kentucky, that would be classified as a commercial pool. And anything over 1,600 feet, you have to do a gutter system. So it was 28 by 70. It was the size of a swim lane, or right around the size of a swim lane. And the idea, I think, was for them to have swim meets, but they had swimming lessons. And we have a customer that used to go up there in the wintertime and exercise, do their water therapy there. But when you have a gutter system, you have to have a reservoir, and you have to have inside that reservoir, there is a float valve in there. So it's almost like a gigantic toilet valve, you might say, where when the water gets low in it, it opens up the main drain, so it floods it and keeps plenty of water in it. But the idea is that you're pulling water from the pool, from the top and from the bottom, but the water runs over a gutter 360 degrees. I mean, it's like whatever the length of the pool, whatever the perimeter of the pool is, that's the perimeter of your skimmer. So it's really effective.
Doesn't it have one of those big pits?
Yeah,
that we just pull from
surge
the pit?
Tank.
Surge. Yeah.
It's been so long since we've done it, and the terms, the nomenclature escapes me. But yeah, surge tank with a float valve in it.
Have we done a lot of indoor pools over there?
We've done
usually for hotels
several. Yeah.
How does that even work? Like, just from
you just have to do most of the, like you're excavating, and usually we'll go ahead and do the concrete shell of the pool and our plumbing and fill it back up to the grade level, and then leave it for. We come back and revisit after they get the structure built. We try to get that done before the walls start going up. But we have done at least 2 that I can remember. And he dug one with a skid steer up in Evansville.
You remember? I was going to ask if you remember that.
And then we had the chip, and we was digging the one at the Drury and Cape, and it actually was solid rock. And so we were having to get a chipper on a backhoe, reaching in the building and chip that pool out.
In there.
Yeah, and then a skid steer running down in there and pulling the rock out.
Was that the Drury up there, up on the hill?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was going to ask. Is it always before the building is built, or do you ever? How often do you have to? Does somebody say, we've got this was a gym, but now we'd like it to be a pool?
The Super 8 in Ripley, Frankie dug that indoors with a loader. So I can think of 3 we actually dug indoors. But
you dig through the window?
You just drive it, drive in.
Basically, the window, or the opening at least, was tall enough, and it probably was a window, which is tall enough for a skid steer. You've seen our skid steers running in and out here, like bobcats. A lot of people call them that. But they would go through an 8-foot tall door, I would think, and it's everything. When you do it the first time, it's kind of weird. So I remember that spa. It was really cool because it was like a fiberglass insert spa, and it was probably 8 by 16
in Ripley.
No, in Evansville.
It's a kind of small pool, I would think.
I think it was no more than a 15 by 30, but on a large spa there. But you get there and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I got to do this. And then Do you remember how long it took? I'm gonna say it took.
It took
about
longer
4 hours.
because they showed up and shut us down because we was in a union area.
Oh wow.
We all had to join the union.
Did we?
Steel workers union up there.
Okay.
And then we could get back to work.
Wow.
I don't remember.
I got mail from them for a while.
I remember them approaching us, but I didn't remember that we ever had to do that. Yeah. But yeah, we dug it, and then so Frankie did that. Frankie did that one in Ripley. I do remember that Super 8 in Ripley, but I didn't remember it being indoor, an indoor dig. So yeah,
what made the jury so difficult was that we hit rock, and it was the structure was already up, and so instead of just a typical dig, we was reaching. It had a backhoe kind of reaching in there, chipping.
Now, and you say that, I remember a little bit about that because I think didn't we have to get up some fans?
It was Renee's dad or Renee's uncle or something was the one up there chipping.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But no, didn't we have to get fans in there and
blow the
evacuate
dust
all
out? I don't remember that.
Like
I just know it was when Dennis first started like getting those, I can't remember what they were, 236, and putting aftermarket tracks on them.
Yeah.
They were the most agile. They was like a 4-wheeler. I mean, they were my favorite skid steers because
I remember
you could do anything on them. And I was driving up down into that pool and getting the rock and pulling it out and back out. But you could do tricks on them machines. You could actually go up and hit a wall and flip yourself if you wanted to.
Yeah. You know what I didn't like about that thing? Because I use the front of my blade to grade with, and I'd set my blade down. On yours, I remember this, and the damn thing would raise up 3 inches almost, and I'd have to try to readjust it once I get going. And I didn't ride. I mean, I didn't operate yours. I didn't ride your 4-wheeler. I didn't operate your cat that much, and I know you were good on it. And but you know what I'm saying? Do you ever grade frontward with your bucket like that? Well, I mean, you'd have to get started because it would raise. You remember how it raised up? Yeah, it raised up 2 or 3 inches. I could never.
We must have had different techniques. I think what made it so awesome was it was like still truly the skid steer type because it comes with rubber tires on it. And so you could do donuts and stuff.
Right.
If it had rubber tires on it. And now they kind of designed these newer track loaders to be yard friendly because landscapers use them and stuff. And you can't sit there and just they're not as agile. And so once you put the aftermarket tracks on the rubber tire machine, it actually had the agility of a rubber tire machine with tracks on it. But you had more. You didn't have like you get a full bucket with rubber tires. A lot of times it wants to tip you.
Right.
You didn't do that.
Yeah. Oh, that one would because the mixer bucket thing.
Oh yeah, that used to be a problem. Like
we dump it
flipping
into
in the pool. Yeah.
Have we ever had to dig a pool manually, like without a machine at all, or any part of a pool?
No, parts of the pool where. Say if I put the step in the wrong place or something like that. I mean, we've had to dig out some steps and some things like that. I can speak. I
know Ernesto's dug a pool like 2 feet too far this way, and Frencho, being Frencho, would show up and just
do it,
dig it out, and move the pool 2 feet.
Not even not even talk about it. Not even cry about it. Yeah. That's just pretty crazy. That somebody would do that. But Frencho's.
He's old school.
Old school.
What's the worst thing that's ever happened?
Well, did we? Gosh, I don't know. We've never killed anybody. Knock on wood.
Well, yeah, I'm not trying to.
No,
maybe not that.
But we've had some close calls. You remember Jody Wright?
Yeah.
You remember that day that he was beating some concrete, and a piece of rebar broke loose
and hit his eye.
I mean it came so close to putting his freaking eye out. I mean, it just bludgeoned him right there. I think that we got nicknamed him Blood at that point.
Timmy Hill was doing a 360 with one of the little case 1845s in Jackson, and hit. I can't remember his name. He's been so many guys so many years ago, but it just broke his arm.
Oh, really?
He knocked him like a.
Oh, was it Tomas?
No. It was a guy. He starts with an M, and I can't remember his name. It was one of Dennis's guys.
Well, okay, but all right. Well, Tomas broke his arm, and because RC called him broken arm, and I ended up learning roto brazo. So I didn't know if it was that.
I think some of the worst thing happened was the Jackson Country Club. We were it wasn't. And we weren't involved, but we were building that pool, and one of the guys working on building one of the structures fell off the roof, and then everybody scattered,
right?
Because they knew OSHA was going to show up. But I don't know if I don't think that guy survived.
Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about injuries and things. I was thinking like, have we ever knocked a building over or missed something, something like that.
I sent a picture to the group thread several years ago because Chaco had this run of like he would pull his machine up on a truck, and then they would lift the back end of the truck up, and he was pointed downhill, and the truck and the machine and the trailer and everything would just take off and hit something. And I forget what he hit, if he hit a car, somebody's car, or a tree, or something like that. So I found a picture of the corner of a house taken out, and sent it to the group thread. And I don't know if the house wasn't even burning. And said, "Sorry about your house there, but we got your pool done." And
I think Lobo disconnected his trailer up on top of a hill, and they didn't scotch the tires or something. And Lobo was standing on the trailer.
Okay.
And the trailer starts to roll down the hill. And Lobo's riding it all the way down the hill and into the house. And that's probably the one you're talking about. But it was free from a truck. It was just a trailer,
right?
On the loose.
Right.
Yeah. And they had to fix their house. But.
Yeah, we've since gotten a lot of sense, I'll have you know, wherever the camera is.
I hope so.
Yeah. Yeah. But, remember when Dennis invented the mixer bucket, right?
Right.
It was a little heavy for the machines we were operating at the time. Right now, it might not be so bad.
And they had the rubber tire machines didn't have the stability. And you pull up to the pool, and you've overdug the pool by 2 feet, and the front tires would roll up in that loose dirt and sink.
Yeah.
And
it's tipsy. You start to lift it up, and so your leverage is kind of way out there, and it's really easy. It was really easy to tip over. And somebody, I don't know if it was Timmy Hill from over there or. Somebody
he's done it, and I've done it.
Some panels.
I've hit a pool, but the mixer bucket actually hit the floor. It was a round pool.
Hit the floor?
It was a round flat bottom pool that I did it in.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't far down to the floor. So, but the mixer bucket hit the pool, and I didn't do much damage to the top of the
pool.
Yeah. Dennis, Dennis had sold it, and I called Dennis, and he's like, "You need to fix that before they get home." Type deal. But Timmy did crush the walls on the one he did, and that was a deeper pool that his didn't have the. I had the mixer bucket, I guess, tipped down, and when I flipped, it hit the ground. Then I just pushed down with it and raised the machine back up. I got myself out of there.
You emptied the load. I think
that we might have had to go and hook on with something and pull me back up. Yeah.
Yeah.
But also one time I was building a pool, and the mixer bucket, I guess the pins were broke. One of the pins broke, or sometimes they would get loose. Those little brackets that the pins would lock into would get and the mixer bucket fell off the machine and
totally came.
It fell off the machine.
Could you imagine being down in a hole?
Yeah, the guys were down there in the hole working.
See that coming at you, or see a big machine coming at you.
Yeah, it fell in there. But the hoses actually didn't break and held on to it a little bit. That kept it could have been worse, I think.
But for any insurance companies watching right now, I want you to know we've had very few claims, and several years that will go by, and it's been kind of impressive how few claims we've had. And when you have 100 people working in a company, there's things that happen that sometimes I don't even hear about until the insurance guys sit in front of me for renewals. But
thankfully, some of our worst disasters are probably just construction disasters, not injury disasters.
Right. I mean, this kind of stuff happens. Like I used to drive a forklift when I was real young, and I remember just even working in a warehouse, how many times one of us would hit a rack and the whole rack would fall down, and there'd be $1 million worth of software damaged or whatever. I was working at Ram McNally for the IBM. Oh my God. And of course, I say $1 million worth of I came swinging around, real wide, smacked the corner of the rack, and the whole thing fell over. And it was like $1.4 million worth of software we had to throw away. Well, I mean, it was just boxes and discs. It probably cost the company, $32 worth of cardboard and plastic. But it was the fact that, that's what they were charging, for it was some, blueprinting software.
What was your next job?
Well, I mean, I still drove forklift for a while. You get better, but I mean, I just remember the number. We used to do the same kind of things, where we'd flip the quarters up on the things or whatever. Not that that's even close to the same heavy machinery, but
like competitively operating.
Yeah.
I knew a guy, Royce Thunderberg in Dyersburg, that would go and compete.
Yeah,
on a fork truck,
driving an excavator.
Oh yeah,
and he would do stuff
really?
like that.
Oh, on an excavator.
Yeah.
Right.
They'd lay like a quarter or a dime or something. He would go that way and get it to bounce, then rip and catch it in the bucket.
Yeah, I used to be able to do that with the forklift. You'd put a quarter on the concrete and you'd slide it back at just the right time, and it'd flip up on top of the top of the thing. But
I don't want to make this about me, but I'm thinking overall we are pretty impressive on skid steers. You remember that 1840 case that we bought used, and it was so
older than Brown Top, I guess.
Oh, it wasn't. It might have been Brown Top.
Brown Top was 1845.
Okay, well, it was older.
Then I do remember the 1840. Then
the very first one.
Yeah,
and it was already wore out when we got it, and so it was just jumpy. I don't know how to explain it other than it was just jumpy. So if you had to be precision. And if you were working around people, it was like a surgical. I mean, you had to be really good, or you were going to hit somebody or something. More or less, people knew to stay away. But I learned to operate on that, and that made me, when I got into a good machine, it made me better.
Right.
But in the controls, and some people like this, and some people really do not care about it. But if you push this side, these wheels would turn. If you push this side, these wheels would turn. Well, as time progressed, that pattern kind of went away, and it went to pilot controls, where you drive the whole thing with one stick, and then you articulate your bucket. And that was a big learning curve for me.
Yeah, you had to do your bucket and your driving with both controls.
And then when you get from one into the other, like, so you have to retrain yourself. And then you get on an old one. That time when we had a period of years,
we still had some those 30 XTs or 60 XTs. We still had some around.
60 XTs, and then we were starting to pepper in some 259D Caterpillars, right, something like that. And so for a while I just didn't operate hardly any of them. And then I got on and I started learning how to do that. And now I'm pretty good at the other. But I wonder what would be like if I
going back to this.
Yeah, if I went back,
it's harder now. It's harder to go back to that. Yeah. Sure. Since you've retrained, it's easier to go from the skid steer style to pilot and learn that than it is to get back on. But your dad's were all foot pedal controls,
which I don't believe there's any way in the world. And
as good as I feel like I have able to operate a skid steer, I get on there and look like I've never been on one in my life.
Oh yeah, you're talking about chopping somebody's. Something off. I mean, you just stay the absolute hell away from me.
Yeah.
I mean, I would like to learn it. You ever seen a musician that sit there and play every instrument and operate? Yeah. I mean, it's that. I mean, to me, it's that type of talent to be able to do that. People who grew up on it, and they were like the first company that created a skid steer, I would think. So, if you ran one, that's what you ran, and so I don't know.
You drove with your hands and you operated all the bucket with your feet.
Oh, wow, yeah.
It's crazy.
Pilots would be good. I remember sitting, in the aircraft and steering it around, for the...
Yeah, but going back to we're talking about the competition, though, I would probably like to have
get competitively see your skills.
Yeah, see how it hold up on that.
You have the equipment in the company. You could hold your own competition.
We should do that.
Yeah, and film it and turn it into a thing.
But
we should do that. That's a great idea.
We're operators, but we're also plumbers. We're also concrete guys. We're also borderline administrators these days. So we just have to do a lot of things.
Oh yeah.
You think about these guys that spend their whole days on a
skid steer. They get really good at it.
Right.
That would probably whoop our butt.
It's like learning to dig a pool. Ernesto can dig a pool better than I ever thought about doing, and so and Bobby could dig a pool better than I ever thought about doing. But I had a time when we were between operators, and I was building a driveway out at Led Hauser at my house, and I spent one winter learning how to operate, and then Uncle Frank drove me around, and I learned to And every time I get off, like I remember digging a pool in Rutherford, and I was so tight up in here because it was right by a house.
Tense.
Yeah. Oh my God. And then, but now I've got to where I remember going out this way a few miles, and my record is 18 to 36, about 2 foot out of the ground on the low side, and about 8 inches out on the high side, and 2 hours and 15 minutes. Boom. Now that's pretty good, pretty fast, but no, it's not Ernesto good.
No, I think Ernesto grew up playing games.
Something.
Controllers in his hands, and it just kind of came natural to him.
Yeah, you think some of the younger people that have that video game experience, it just translates to that?
Obviously so. I mean, he's a good guy, and he's excellent at it. So
we grew up where he was out in the yard,
Well, our video games had like two, we had the stick and a button.
Atari. Yeah, exactly. Nowadays, I think it has helped him. Like, I think that he just stepped on there, and it comes natural to him. And he can be on his phone and with his ears, and he'll be talking to somebody and digging, and it's like he don't even have to, it's like it's just an extension of his body.
It is second nature.
Was that legal? Sure. Maybe we should roll that back and edit that. I don't know.
I think he's using his headphones. I'd say
there you go. Yeah.
He's definitely got the earbuds in. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to come into the backyard and pull him over.
No.
John and I have been doing this podcast for several weeks. We're trying to figure out. We watch a lot of podcasts and or listen. And there's always a question that they ask every time, and we haven't really honed in our question. But we heard one the other day. It wasn't a podcast, but John said that'd be a good question.
Yeah, I thought it might be interesting.
So let's throw that one by.
So
Larry.
Basically, it goes like this: if you were financially set, if you didn't have to worry about money anymore, what would you do with your life?
I think I would go and try to watch. Go take my wife and go see the world a little bit and. I would like to go see a football game in every SEC stadium.
Ooh, wow,
Tennessee.
Okay.
I'd like to see Tennessee play in every SEC stadium.
You would just follow Tennessee around like.
Road trip to every other SEC stadium and watch us play. Because I've been to Knoxville several times. I've seen us play at Kentucky. I've seen us play at Vanderbilt, and I've seen them play Ole Miss in the Liberty Bowl back in the '90s. They used to have a series with Ole Miss where they would play in the Liberty Bowl Stadium every so many years, and then they would rotate who was home team. I mean, I've been a fan long enough I remember that. Right, but that was back in the Andy Kelly days, before Peyton Manning, before it was 90. I was in high school. It was before I worked here.
Oh, yeah.
We're probably about the same age is what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
how old are you?
51.
Okay, yeah, I'm 49. So
I was probably in the junior in high school. That was my first Tennessee game.
So you probably remember Chad Clifton.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I played with him at Westview.
I was building a pool, and he was standing in the backyard.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Oh, yeah, in Jackson.
Lund. Dr. Lund.
Oh, yeah, right.
The
Martin.
football coach was...
Don Cody.
I don't know who
Back
Dr.
in
Lund's
Westview,
man
anyway.
was, but it was
He
the
said Don
football
Cody.
coach at Barton Westview.
Yeah, that's Don Cody. He was great football coach back in the day, back in the 90s. That's who I played for a little while.
I don't know who he was. Was he with Dr. Lund?
I know the name. I just don't know.
Well, it was Elizabeth Lund, and it was the first pool I built when I came back in 2009.
Right.
You took me over there and just said, well, I need your help on that.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
And it was a tricky pool,
The
too, yeah.
football coach was the man of the house, and Chad Clifton, it was during the summer, and so he was off. He was playing for the Packers at the time, and he was just
later.
home, and he was hanging out with the football coach, and he was in the backyard over there while I was building the pool. Yeah.
Chad was a freshman whenever I was playing.
Okay.
He's a little younger than me. I graduated in 94, and so he was a freshman. So I remember I was a tight end, but we'd line up, and I was still able to beat him on the boards, a little bit because I was bigger. Well, not bigger, but I mean, back then he was taller, but he was still skinny. Right. I had a little more weight to me.
He's had an amazing career. I mean, he has a SEC.
That did not last long.
He won 2 SEC championships, a national championship, and a Super Bowl, and protected Peyton Manning and T. Martin and Brett Favre.
Yeah, Chad was awesome.
Yeah,
Chad was great.
That's his career.
Big time
So he's a big
Green
time.
Bay. Yeah.
I wanted to make a Warren Sapp joke that when he was there, but he would kill me because he.
No, Chad's a good guy.
He would have killed me. But do you remember the Warren Sapp situation?
The who? Yeah,
Brett Favre threw an interception, and Chad.
I remember that.
So somebody was running the ball back, and Chad was going to go try to tackle the guy that intercepted the ball, and Warren Sapp Warren
Sideswiper.
Sapp was a 300-plus pound defensive tackle that could catch running backs from behind.
Right.
So amazing athlete, 300 pounds.
Right.
And anyway, he's a blocker because they intercepted the ball. And Chad's running and he's not looking, and Warren Sapp blindsides him.
Right.
And
Yeah, it was a dirty play.
it put Chad out for about a year.
Yep,
It
for some time.
he hit him so hard
year?
it like tore his hip away from his body. I don't know,
Yeah,
separated.
it's a bad situation.
And it was just from the force, because he got hit like in the shoulder.
Right.
But his injury was in his hip.
Yeah, and it
300 pound guys,
Yeah.
and Warren Sapp running as fast as he and hits him, and he had to have hip surgery.
Yeah,
And
and
but I
Warren
didn't
Sapp
say
never.
because he could truck me, and I know that.
right.
He was never apologetic about that
Yeah,
or
I
anything
know.
like that.
Right.
Like he was a jerk.
Rubbing is racing, though, they say. You know what?
And I'd say that if he was sitting in the room,
They've got a rule for
care.
that now. You can't blindside block now.
Right.
Only.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
They've changed that rule. But
Kind of understandable. I mean, it looks fun to watch, but the
There's-
repercussions are.
it's like
horrible.
every game I watch, it's like a train wreck constantly. I don't know how them guys hold up.
yeah, that's my only regret is quitting football back in the day.
You're probably a lot healthier.
I quit my senior year so I could go make money. I
can-
was like,
you can
I'm
walk.
not going to end up in the NFL like all these other people. I'm going to go try to be on the radio. And we see how that worked.
You can still walk though. So.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
they
Yeah,
have good knees and all
well,
that.
the Marines didn't do me any good on the knee part and all that, all the running. So yeah, I should have played a little bit longer while I could.
These days you can get paid really well, even in college.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's true. Yeah.
I think adopt me a little athletic boy.
So,
Well, this has been a lot of fun, and even though we got a little off pulls at the end or whatever, football, we could have a whole nother football podcast if we ever talk about
I know
that.
as much about football as I do pools for
Because
sure.
I'm going to trigger you now. I'm probably get you to take your headphones off and walk out, but I'm an Ohio State fan.
Oh my!
So, at least I didn't
it-
say Alabama, but I am kind of hoping. I'm also a Cleveland Browns fan. I'm hoping that Simpson, is it Ty
Sampson?
Sampson? Yeah, I'm
Dylan
hoping
Sampson.
that he ends up playing for the Browns so that
Oh, Ty Simpson.
Ty Simpson, yeah.
Dylan Sampson is a Vol and is already on the Browns.
Right.
But do you know that the Browns ownership are Vol
yeah.
people, Haslams?
Right.
They're like the biggest donor at UT. The Pilot logo on the field when you watch a Vols game now, it says Pilot. That's the Haslams, and
You're
they
right.
was the governor of Tennessee. They own the Browns.
Yep. I'm trying to. I think we should have like a Browns backer bar here or something. More people that follow the Cleveland Browns. So because I can't find anywhere to watch them.
That's probably why the Browns are terrible because the
that's
the Haslams are the big boosters and have their hands all in the UT team.
and
too.
everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I need to know this because you are a big football fan. If John would have said, "Hey, I'm a big Alabama guy," instead of which one would have been worse, Alabama guy or Ohio
I would
State?
say, where are you from?
Oh, I'm from Cleveland.
Then that's fine. If you just
Yeah.
said if you said you're a Bama fan and I said where you're from and you said you're from Tennessee, that
I'm
would-
same.
Right,
I'm
yeah.
same on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That's
That's
fair
a-
weather.
if you're from Alabama, that's fine.
That's a betrayal.
But if you
So,
if you're
It
one of
is.
these people
It's Chaco.
that jumped on the Bama wagon after they
yeah,
and you
after
used to be
they-
like a
Yep.
Vols fan, but the Vols started that's trash.
that's for me, Pittsburgh. Every time I hate Pittsburgh, the Steelers.
Right.
And every time I meet somebody, especially like here, and I'm like, "Are you from Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh? You from there?" No, I'm from Troy. I'm like, why do you like the Steelers?
What age though? What age?
Well, that's different
Here's the
too.
reason
I mean, I'm not going to
Tennessee
confront
didn't have a pro team for a
7-year-old.
long time, so there's lots of different pro fans in the state.
because if they're of the era where Pittsburgh was winning, and while you had a team in Tennessee, that's one thing. Like we grew up. I grew up a Steelers fan, and a lot of people were Cowboys fans in the area. But there was nobody. Well, no, but I'm not now because the Tennessee Titans. And
Right,
I'm not a
right.
pro football guy
Me
anymore,
neither.
anyway. But if they were my age and we didn't have a Tennessee to root for,
Right.
Titans to root for,
You gotta pick
And
somebody.
then now they're saying I'm a big Steelers fan. I'm thinking, if they're my age, it's cool because they grew up that way. And when we didn't have that choice,
And in the South, they're like most of these states don't have pro teams. Like
Right.
Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas,
You figure you
Tennessee.
go for somebody closer.
They didn't have pro teams when we was growing up, and the college football was life. It was like pros.
Well, like when I lived in, and I get all that, the college football thing. When I lived in South Dakota, a lot of people were either Vikings fans because Minnesota was next door, or they were Denver fans. So you had this, you know, and of course now there wasn't a whole lot of college teams in South Dakota either. That I mean, you know, they were not Division I.
Yeah, they have really good like lower division school football
Right.
up there.
Right.
Montana, North
Low
Dakota,
division.
North Dakota State, South Dakota State. They like compete for national championships every
Jack
single
Rabbits
year.
and
Yeah. I watch that. I don't watch it year round, but when they start the playoffs, I do watch
a
it.
good rodeo. up there,
Montana
too.
has a good team. Montana State.
Yeah.
All those upper western states are real, and it's snowing because they play on their home field through the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like the guys are out there just
I'll say this
Loving
though,
it.
Yeah.
their high school football is terrible.
yeah.
My brother-in-law coached one of the biggest schools there, like Central High School, and they've got like 3,000 students or something or more. You know, it's a huge school. You'd think that they would have an amazing team.
Right.
Nobody cares. Everybody that worked in it, you know, they all play hockey. They all play other things. So, like there was one play he remembers where a guy came, laid pretty good lick on somebody, and the parents were calling him, going, you know, you're instituting this is violence. I can't. We shouldn't. And he's like, "Man, it's football.
Yeah.
Like, you know, to come from Tennessee to go up there, like this is how, you know, it's just a different world."
Right.
Anyway, well, we better. we're rolling up on some time.
Yeah,
Final thoughts
for sure. Well, I guess I have to just thank Larry for doing this. This is probably not outside your comfort zone because you did an excellent job. It's just sitting here talking
Just
about
shooting the crap.
Yeah.
It's just
reminiscing. So
it's just one day. A lot of days I'm wondering what I'm going to go do, and today I really need to be.
You gotta be
I'm
gone.
busy
There you
today,
go.
so
Yeah.
y'all picked a great time for this. Yeah.
Right.
I'm worried about the guys. And
Yeah.
right now.
Well, you need to go, and you're doing a refurbished job over in Martin.
and kind of just custom
started.
doing this. Esri kind of handed me the keys to make it happen, and then we're going to order a liner to fit when we're done. And
I bad need pictures of that to see that because that's a growing category for us, and it keeps us busy in the off season.
Get us some more work.
Need to see some before and after
renovations.
stuff on
We're
that.
calling them now instead of
Renos,
refurb.
refurbished,
Yeah.
renovations, remodel,
Makeovers.
I was going to say that. Trying to see like the HGTV shows do the makeover deals, but yeah. So anyway, appreciate it.
Yes,
Appreciate
sir.
all your time
I
here.
appreciate it. I
it's
enjoyed
been
it.
fun.
He's the longest lasting,
Longest tenured.
Aloha guy here.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
Anyway, appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you,
Well,
guys.
And I guess this concludes our podcast. We appreciate you. As always, like and subscribe. And, leave some comments below for that question. Remember, we asked that question. We're trying to figure out exactly what we want to say, what we want to ask people. If you have any ideas, we'd love to hear them. What are some of the fun things that we could ask some of the guests that come on the podcast? And with all of that, I'm John Watts. For Brad Cook, we say dive safely.